When my sister died, that was the problem that started. It was so horrible. We didn't know. Secrets started to come out, and it just get worse from there. Going through financial difficulties here in England, it wasn't good for me either. It was horrible. My love life was a mess. It used to be arguments all the time, arguments. We eventually even split. I was living in a different home, he was living in a different one. We never used to see each other. When we do see each other like once a week, it would be an argument. The next week it would start again. And life was just a mystery. After my sister died, I came back and I wanted to go to church. So I just went to the church Sunday. I was even early. The turning point for me was to make that changes that I want to see. I want to have a happy family, a happy home. I want my financial life to be where I want it to be. I want to do things that would turn things around for me and my family. It started off with my family, really. I started praying for them, doing things that should help them, making purposes that will help them. At that moment, I was brave to step out and to do the things that I'll do, because at the end of the day, I even have 2 children I was sending to uni and high school at the same time, and I have to be the one who financing that. So it was difficult for me, but I step out and make that changes. Now, my love life is getting better and better. We are planning our wedding. We're getting married soon. Next year we're getting married, and we are happy because we are making the changes that I should make.
Good evening and welcome to tonight's Finding Answers. Now, we've come back to that topic that we have covered in the past, and it's about persistence. Persistence is very important whenever you are facing a difficult situation in your life. Are you going through a bad event right now? A bad situation? You've received some bad news regarding family member, bad news in your relationship, bad news at work. If you are going through a problem, there are a number of things or a number of ways that you will tend to react. You can actually stop dead in your tracks and kind of sink, stop, not do anything at all, and just accept the problem. You can do even worse and get depressed about it, right? You don't look after yourself anymore. It deflates you. You can't move forward. You feel suicidal even. That's another way. Or you can actually do something about it. You've received this bad news, but you are going to get up, persist, and try and make the best of what has happened. You will go forward and find a solution. Do something to make that bad news into something good at the end of the day. Now, if you are this negative person, if any news, bad news at that, puts you down, you find yourself deflated all the time, you don't see the light at the end of the tunnel, then hopefully tonight's program will help you, that you may, dust yourself off, get up and keep on going until you do find the answer that you want. Let's have a look now at tonight's video to show you more on tonight's topic.
When faced with a difficult event, an emotional conflict or a negative relationship, some people believe that it's easier to give up than to continue being persistent. Persistence is the perseverance in or against something despite a number of setbacks. It's about taking a route of action, in spite of opposing forces. Persistence and motivation can go hand in hand. Motivation involves the biological, emotional, social and cognitive forces that activate behaviour. Motivation is the reason why a person does something. If you are more motivated towards a goal, then this should initiate the behaviour of persistence. You will be able to see the end goal and to have predicted the obstacles in your path. But what if you don't have motivation? How can you continue to be persistent? Some people will be able to tap into their reserves of learnt persistence, to power through even if they feel like all is lost and they have lost motivation. But if you are at rock bottom and you are feeling despair, maintaining perseverance and being persistent is the way to move forward, and things will eventually change.
There you have it. No matter what you face in life, if you are on a downer at the moment, you can pick things up. It is possible because, what you are going through now, what you are facing at this moment in time in your life, other people have gone through it as well, and they've actually picked up the pieces, found a solution, and now they're probably living happier, better lives. And they can look back at some situations and even laugh at what happened, right? Maybe not laugh, but they can say, if I didn't go through that experience, I wouldn't be where I am today. I wouldn't be, the type of person that I am today. They find themselves stronger, happier, more positive in life. So don't look just at the negative side of things. Things tend to happen to kind of test us, test our resolve, test to see if we have this persistent spirit to get up and move forward in life. Right? With me tonight is Victoria. Hi, Victoria.
Hiya.
How are you doing?
I'm good, thanks.
So, persistence. In your work as a psychologist, how are people naturally? Do they naturally persist and carry on, or do they tend to kind of give up?
Well, what we tend to find is people with high self-esteem are more likely to persist on difficult tasks, and also people who've been rewarded in the past for their effort are more likely to persist on future tasks. But unfortunately, what this means is that those people who have low self-esteem and have experienced negative feedback are actually less likely to continue when the going gets tough. And that's where the problem lies. But actually, the good news is that you can actually build persistence, and it's about noticing your thoughts about giving up. So you notice your thoughts, and then you make a conscious effort to dismiss these thoughts and just focus exactly on what it is that you want to achieve, and then eventually, hopefully, your efforts should pay off.
That's easy to say in theory, but depending on the problem, on the situation that the person's going through, even if they are born negative, right? I won't say born negative, but because of what they've gone through in their early lives, the person is just down. Things never kind of go right for them. How does that person kind of change their mentality? How do they recognize their negative thoughts and then kind of do something about it?
Well, you can either just force your way through it, which some people do when they go through really bad situations. So say maybe you've lost a child, a very important relationship has broken down. You go on what you would just call autopilot. So you just absolutely push your way through. Or another way to do it is to talk to someone, because what they can tell you is they can make you recognize when you are nearly giving up or when you're failing, and it's those moments that you will then change. You need to change the habits. But if you're just sat on your own, you may not recognize exactly when you keep giving up and when the negative thoughts appear. Maybe
actually that's the problem. Maybe you are on your own. You can't be bothered to speak to anyone. You don't want to share your bad luck or what's going on with anyone. Or maybe you just don't have anyone around you to talk to. But tonight, there is an outlet. You can speak to someone to air your your views, your worries about the problem that you're going through. You know, it's always good to talk, right? It's always good to share what you're going through with someone, because that's someone. And it's even sometimes better when you speak to someone that you don't even know, because that person will be able to hear your story and give you unbiased advice. They will not be emotional with you. They will not side with you. They will probably understand what you're going through, but then give you impartial advice, advice that maybe you didn't think of. And it's good to speak to someone. So if you do want to share or talk about your problems, maybe you've given up in ever thinking that you will find someone. Maybe you always talk about yourself. You think that you're not attractive. You think because of all the bad relationships that you have had in the past that Mr. Right, you know, Mrs. Right is not out there. You don't believe that you will ever find anyone for your life. Maybe you think, you know what, I have this goal of being a doctor, being a writer, being, you know, at the top of my field that I'm qualified for. That's always been your dream. But because of certain setbacks, people telling you no, because you've gone for interviews and it didn't work out, you've kind of given up in your dream of reaching where you want to be. Why don't you pick up the phone and talk to someone? Someone will be there at the end of the tunnel to encourage you, to say, actually, you can do it, right? And maybe they'll be able to say, I know someone who was in your shoes, but today they have reached their goal in life. So if you want, you can pick up the phone, give us a call. The number's on the screen. It's 0207 686 6300. All right? If you want to email us, you can email Victoria. That email address is help@findinganswers.tv. And Victoria's going to tell you now, because I don't know the rest, the Twitter, the Instagram, and also Facebook and YouTube.
That's it.
Go ahead.
Okay, so here we go. If you'd like to send us a tweet, start your tweet with @FindAnswersTV, or talk to us on Facebook, just search for Finding Answers. Find us on Instagram, search for Finding Answers. Search for us on YouTube, Finding Answers, and our website is www.findinganswers.tv. There we go.
There you go. All right, so we have all the outlets for you to contact us on tonight's program. Now, we're going to go for a quick break, and when we come back, we're going to meet tonight's guest, who did receive some bad news related to someone very close to her. You know, when you have a relative, a family member, and things don't go right for them, the tendency is to kind of either support them or shut down and not believe that things can change. How do you react in terms of family situation? Well, you're going to hear my guest tonight, her story, but also how faith, how God helped her in overcoming this problem. We're going to go for a break and we'll be back right after this.
Do the maths. Changing your life is not as simple as changing your hairstyle, your shirt, or rearranging the furniture in your living room. You're talking about years of deep-rooted habits, behaviours and problems that are not going to change overnight. Many may say, think positively, but the trouble with that is that you can't do or change anything with just thoughts. But add action into the equation and the outcome can be different. Let's do the maths. Positive thinking plus action equals a change. Whatever it is, if the change is significant, if it's worthwhile, then it will have to take time, effort and homework from you.
How does a person addicted for 20 years start over? Let us help you.
Welcome back to Finding Answers. Now, if you just joined us, tonight's topic is persistence. If you want to know how you can have persistence, be persistent in life when you've been negative, whenever bad news strikes, you kind of give up. You kind of sit down and hopefully wait for good things to take place. Well, let's meet our guest for tonight. Her name is Margaret Ssendagire.
Pushing me for the rest of the week, so it's like a boost.
Things were really tight.
Today, the way I see myself is completely different.
Margaret, welcome to the program.
Thank you. Nice.
Okay, you have a story to tell, right?
Yes,
regarding
I do.
this. Please tell us and the viewers at home, how were things with you?
Right, I have a 3-year-old daughter, and obviously she goes to nursery full time. And I started realizing that children her age they were speaking more than her, and they were 2 years old. And I got worried, but obviously by then I started to get worried, but then I thought, okay, maybe as time goes on, she will probably catch up with the other kids.
Right.
But then obviously my worry got even more intense when she had an assessment. The health visitor did an assessment with her.
How old was she at the time?
She turned 2.
Right.
And they did a developmental assessment.
So while you know, you have your daughter,
Yes.
you know, I know I can't remember when.
Yes.
I don't have a child, but
Yes.
children normally develop, they normally speak, make noises, say
Yes.
mama, dada.
Yes, dada, yes.
But for you, your
Yeah.
daughter, that was kind of delayed.
It was delayed. She only said mummy and hello, and that was it.
Really?
Yes, there was no sentence whereby hello mummy or good night mummy.
Now this is when she was around 2 years old now.
Yes, that's
so
right.
you would have thought she would have been making certain sentences.
Even if
saying
they're
words
small.
here or there.
Yes. So obviously when the assessment was carried out, the health visitor told me that she had concerns that my daughter was not speaking in at least certain sentences at her age.
Right.
And that she was going to put her forward to be assessed for delayed speech.
When you heard that from, you know, the health visitor,
The health visitor.
did you kind of think nothing of it, or did you have concerns?
I did have concerns because obviously, like I said, I always going to the nursery, the room that my daughter was in, most of the children her age, they were all like saying at least a couple of sentences. So obviously that was in the back of my mind, thinking, what's wrong with my child? You know, have I not been supportive enough? You know, I started questioning my parental skills.
Really?
Yes, I did.
Okay, you started look within.
You know, I started to blame myself, thinking, oh, maybe, you know, there's something that I didn't do right.
Right.
Maybe during the pregnancy, I didn't eat enough fruits, or I didn't,
Yeah.
you know, I didn't, you know, drink enough fluids. There was all sorts of things going through my mind, you know, trying to find answers, as in, you know, what could have been the problem. And, you know, I ended up blaming myself that maybe I could have been the cause.
Did that health visitor, they eventually, I'm sure they did the tests.
Yes.
Did they allay your fears? Did they say, look, it's not you, this sometimes happens? What was their
I mean,
the
when I
results of the
spoke
test?
to the health visitor, obviously I did tell her that I was concerned and I was really, really worried. And I mean, she told me that, oh, you know, some kids are a bit more delayed, you know, and obviously, you know, some kids, they speak more quicker than others, you know, others take their time, and maybe my child might be one of those kids, but obviously they didn't want to risk it in case there was something else that could be the cause. Like, for example, she pointed out that there may be a chance that she might have autism.
Really?
And that's why they needed to carry out those assessments to find out if maybe she might have any underlying autism.
You know, you're looking, when the doctor's assessing your child, right?
Yes.
You know, one of the last things you want to hear is things like autism.
Oh, it's
right?
dreadful.
Or some other kind of problem, learning difficulties.
Yes, yes.
When they did mention autism,
yes,
what was your reaction?
that threw me away, because obviously that kind of like put me in a really bad, you know, in a bad way, whereby I started to get depressed.
Yeah.
I got depressed and I got really frustrated, and I mean, obviously I didn't tell my family and friends, because obviously I thought, oh, you know, how would they think, how would they take it, you know?
You were already blaming yourself.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Thinking that it was your fault.
Yes.
You didn't do enough.
Yes.
Enough as a mother.
Yeah.
But then when they mentioned autism,
Yes.
you got depressed.
I got really depressed. I got stressed out, and then I got depressed, and to the point whereby I was even struggling to go into work, you know, and obviously that kind of like put a strain at work as well, because obviously, you know, it kind of like there were times whereby I wasn't able to go into work, you know, because obviously I was feeling low.
Did you tell your manager, your boss, about what was going on?
I didn't actually.
You didn't?
I didn't. No, I didn't like. I didn't want to tell anyone actually. You know, it's just like literally, I just bottled it up. You know, I just felt, oh, you know, how will people think? You know, what will they think that maybe I didn't do enough as a mum? You know, maybe they might blame me.
Yeah. Who might blame you?
Probably the family.
Family,
yeah, family, and you know. And
how long
friends.
did you keep this like a secret from your family and other people?
Kept for a couple of months. Couple of months, you know, about roughly around 3 to 4 months.
So you eventually told them.
I
did
eventually told them. You
and
know,
and what was their reaction when you spoke to them?
they were quite, you know, they were very supportive, because obviously they asked me why didn't I, you know, sit down with them and you know, tell them about my worries and concerns, especially my some of my aunties, because obviously they've got older kids, and they gave me examples about, you know, so many kids that they've seen who've had delayed speech and they've eventually gone on to speak, and you know, and that I shouldn't really worry, that although, you know, the professionals have to do their job, you know, I also have to stay positive and not let it get me down, you know. So that really helped me.
So it affected your mental state?
It did.
It affected your work?
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
Did your child, I mean, did it affect the way you took care of her? Were you more caring? Did you want to, take her and overprotect her?
Oh, yes.
How were things
yes.
between you?
I
and
mean,
her?
obviously, I felt like, I felt that I wanted to do more for her. So obviously, I was, whenever I would go to nursery, I would ask the teachers, what more can I do at home, in order to help with the speech. Is there something that I'm not doing? Should I literally buy some books, certain books to buy and read up on delayed speech, or any information that...
What did they actually advise you to do?
Well, at the nursery, they advised me to keep speaking to her and just speak to her one-to-one when I'm looking at her, and actually have a slow conversation and not talk fast as I would be speaking to you.
Yeah.
Because obviously, so that she can understand what I'm saying,
Yeah.
and maybe she would learn to be able to imitate.
Right. The thing is, in all of this, Margaret, she allowed a situation which was already traumatic,
Yes.
right, for you, and anyone else, any other parent for that matter. The fact that instead of kind of being positive, she allowed this problem or this news to affect her in such a way. She started looking at herself, blaming herself. She started being depressed.
Yes.
Right? And when you said depressed, did you kind of not do anything? I don't know, you would stay at home. Did you cry? Did you kind of not, do anything around the house for a period of time?
I cried, and obviously I wasn't sleeping properly. My sleeping pattern was up and down, and I kind of withdrew. Like I said, I withdrew myself from family and friends. I was very limited with contacts with most people.
And those things, you could have avoided those things. You could have done. Obviously, now.
Yes.
But back then, when you are in the middle of a crisis, the middle of a problem, can you, as Victoria said, can you actually, recognize your negative thought patterns and actually do something about it? Instead of letting those problems be on top of you, you start controlling those thoughts and start doing something to actually make a difference. And even though, something as serious as a child having delayed speech, even autism, the power of faith, which we believe, the power of faith can turn things around, right? So what was the worst moment, Margaret, for you? Have you mentioned it already, or was there a really bad moment in all of this?
I think the worst moment was being able to, was blaming myself, and literally there were moments whereby I got frustrated, and then I would take my frustrations out, whereby, if my daughter was trying to ask me for something and I didn't know what she was saying, she would get frustrated and I would get frustrated.
Really?
Yeah, and then obviously to the point
so it's like sorry to cut you.
Okay.
In a young child,
yes,
you sense her frustration that she's asking for something, but you couldn't understand her.
Yes, I couldn't.
That must have been really hard,
and that
right?
was really hard, because I would try and say everything that, trying to guess what she's actually asking for, and obviously, it would really frustrate me not being able to to know right there and then, because I kept thinking, that's my daughter, I should know what she wants, so it kind of really frustrated me a lot.
So did you notice a difference in your child's behaviour as well, because she couldn't communicate with you? Could you see was she getting angry?
She would get frustrated as well, whereby she would start yelling, no, when if I would say certain things and it wasn't what she wanted.
No, it's not that.
She would just say no, and then she's like no, and then she would just go off and just sit down, and then obviously after she would start crying,
Right.
Yeah, I should
That
start
that must have been
crying,
hard for you to
and that
take,
kind of
right?
really made me even more stressed out, and it kind of really put a heavy burden on me,
Yeah.
you know, because I wanted to help, but I didn't know how.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Whether your situation is with a family member, like Margaret and her daughter, maybe it's to do with work, career, relationships, family, maybe it's to do with your health, and you feel as though, you know what, I can't do any more than I'm doing. I feel stuck. I don't know what else to do. Well, after the break, you're going to hear from Margaret how things change for her. And it's something that you and we all have. You're going to learn how you can change your situation around. We'll see you after this. Okay, so when we...
Follow My Channel's updates on Facebook. Like your favourite videos and see pictures of your favourite artists. Access our Twitter @MyChannelUK and get to know what's on with My Channel. Visit tvmychannel.com and be connected to our world. My Channel, a whole new world of entertainment.
So, maybe you're thinking about making some big changes or setting some ambitious goals for yourself. Maybe you want to lose 20 pounds or read through the Bible. Maybe you want to run a marathon or repair a broken relationship. Whatever your big goal is, the temptation is to expect to go straight from here to here, or from here to here. The reality is, there are a lot of small steps between big decisions and big results. Challenges and obstacles await. At some point, you might even want to quit. But stand firm. Don't be disappointed with slow progress. Don't be overwhelmed by the destination. Rather, focus on what you can do today. Skip dessert. Read a chapter. Go for a run. Make a phone call. The more difficult the journey, the more rewarding the destination. And it can all start today with just one small step.
Now, people normally think that there's no greater influence as powerful as Hollywood, but I beg to differ because Godlywood is really making its mark in the world. Now, for those of you that don't know, Godlywood is an initiative aiming to lead women of all ages to become exemplary women of God. We teach women how to make a positive impact in their own lives and their families through monthly tasks and meetings. And one of the great things about Godlywood as well is that we also learn to be giving, so we go out and help our communities. And one of the ways we do that in the UK through regular visits to elderly homes to pamper them and to keep them company. We also have regular events to help abused women, and we have many more plans to help our community. I ended up overcoming lots of insecurities and bad habits, and I've grown so much, and one of the things that I finally beat was the shyness that I had, and I'm doing things that I never ever imagined that I would be doing. And we have many more plans to help our community. So to summarise everything, Godlywood really changes lives, and I'm so privileged to be a part of it.
Welcome back to Finding Answers. Tonight our topic is persistence is key. So let's go to the general public on the streets of London to see what they have to say about this topic.
Definitely depression is probably number one.
They're arguing and they're talking negatively about each other.
What is more valuable than another? And so
you can have as many friends and families as you want. It just depends.
Is a common regret, like, oh, like I should have like asked that person out, or like.
Hi, I'm Chika here on the streets of London for Finding Answers. Tonight's topic is persistence is key. Sometimes we find ourselves in negative situations, hard relationships, or just hard times. But a quote by Benjamin Franklin says, "Energy and persistence conquers all things." I'm going to be asking the general public if they agree with this. Let's see what they say. Benjamin Franklin said, "Energy and persistence conquer all things." Do you agree with this quote, and why?
Maybe not all things. I think that there's good meaning behind the quote. I think that there is something to be said about persistence and energy and continuing on even if it's difficult. But I think that there's a lot of different factors that that you need to take into consideration, like luck, for example. So yeah.
I agree to a certain extent. I wouldn't say they conquer all things, but they certainly conquer a lot of things. Sometimes you've got to be compassionate as well to conquer certain things. But yeah, you still need the energy and persistence as well. Okay. But sometimes you need to be compassionate about it. But yeah, it's a good quote.
Excellent. Yeah, I agree with that. I think that you do need compassion because you can't be like bull at the gates. You may be persistent, but you have to have empathy as well, I think. I think that will work better with being persistent but be compassionate, I think.
Yeah, because I'd say it makes you like sort of more powerful person, you know, if you sort of bit of energy into anything, if you go into anything with a wee bit of enthusiasm and, you know, power, you usually like accomplish whatever you need to accomplish or whatnot. So yeah, definitely agree with that.
So welcome back to the program. Let's hear now from Margaret how things have changed regarding herself and her daughter. So, Margaret, did you ever believe in God?
Yes, I've always believed in God.
You've always believed in God?
Yes, I have.
The thing is, when you went through all of this, the news regarding your daughter,
yes,
as you said, you allowed yourself to get down about it.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
You bottled things up.
Yes.
You know, as you said, you felt low. You didn't go into work.
Yes.
And all the other things, even though you said you believed in God.
Yes.
Right? But you learned to tap into your faith.
Yes.
Right?
That's right.
Your faith was lying dormant there until you learned how to tap into it. So how did you develop this faith? What did you do about this faith that you've always had?
All right. I believe surrounding myself with family and friends who are also believers of God. Mm-hmm. They believe in God.
Yeah.
They kind of got me to also come back into starting to use my faith and to not give up, you know, because, you know, obviously God is out there fighting for me and my daughter. And I kind of went through a low patch, but then obviously I thought to myself, you know, why don't I, you know, give myself to God and let Him take care of everything.
The thing is, yes. I want to say something here. Yes, you turned to God now,
yes,
but you still involved the doctors.
Yes.
Right? And that's I want to clear that up because, you know, you have some people who do believe in God that they say it's only God that can cure my family, that can help. I want a divine miracle, a divine answer, right? And they ignore the medicine, they ignore doctors' advice, which here on Finding Answers, we will always advise you, no matter what, to always seek, you know, help, advice from your doctor. So if it means taking medication, then follow your doctor's advice, right? So even though the doctors were saying autism, wasn't sure about it, there's no cure for autism,
yes,
right? But you also turn to your faith,
yes,
right?
Yes.
So what did that include? Obviously praying about it?
Praying
How?
about
What?
it.
You know, what were you saying to God? What were you praying to Him?
I
about?
asked Him to give me the strength to be able to be a good role model to my daughter, and to, although the professionals have told me what their concerns are, at the end of the day, I just prayed that I would not, whatever the case was, that I just asked God to help me to be strong and to be persistent in believing that whatever they're saying, as far as I'm concerned, God has the final answer, and He's the only one who can determine.
Did you go a bit more direct, and say, God, look, please heal her, improve her?
Yes,
her
I
speech?
did. Yes, I prayed, and and I asked God, please, what my situation is, please heal my daughter, and help her to get better. If there is a situation going on, please step in and and turn the situation around, and prove the professionals that they can be wrong.
Now, when you did turn to God, it was like, am I right in assuming that you reached rock bottom?
Yes, I did.
Right?
I did. Yes.
And only then did you turn to God. And if you did turn to God sooner, I'm sure you'd avoid all the pain, all the worries that you had experienced prior to actually turning to Him.
Yes.
And that's the thing, maybe you believe in God, even if you don't. But if you do believe in God and you haven't turned to Him, you can avoid a lot of unnecessary worry, pain even, right? When you turn to Him, as I said, you must seek professional advice, help, whether that's from doctors, whether it's from lawyers, whoever the case may be. You ask for advice, ask for help from people, but ultimately, if those people can't help you, if they say, look, your case, this situation, I can't see an answer to this, we can't help you anymore, then God he's doing this. He's waiting to step in. But He can only come into a person's life if there's an invitation, right? If you don't invite Him into this situation, He's not going to force His way, and He's not going to answer. He needs you to ask Him for help. And that's exactly what you did.
Yes.
Tell me then, when did you, or how did things kind of change with your daughter? What happened?
Well, after, my continuous prayers to God, and, I even did some fasting, prayed and fasted, and, within 3 months I began to see a change in my daughter. She started to get vocal, and at least saying more than 3 sentences.
Really?
Yes.
What was she saying now?
Oh, right now she could say, "Oh, Mummy, good night. Mummy, what are you doing?"
Words she never said
She
before.
never said, and Mummy, I want to use the potty, and
that's now sentences are coming together, right?
I just, even just hearing it, it just literally, like, I just got down on my knees and I just said, "Thank you, God. You've actually answered my prayers, and I believe you're still going to continue to help her to speak more fluently."
Right.
And I have faith, 100% faith, that my child is fine.
So when you started praying,
yes,
to the time you saw the change, what period was that? How long was it?
Within 3 months.
3 months?
Yes, yes.
Right. Skeptics would say, oh, it just happened, right?
Yes.
But, I'm sure you as a mother, the mother of your child will say, you know what, it wasn't just coincidence.
Honestly.
There wasn't it didn't happen at that right time. It was going to happen anyway.
Yes,
I'm sure you would say that it was through prayer, through faith in God, that her development started to happen.
Yes, I really, and even at the nursery, the staff, you know, they also, you know, whenever I'd go, there was like, oh my goodness, you know, Chloe's doing so much better. She's actually being more vocal, and you know, and while she's starting to get vocal, she's actually able to socialize with her other young children, because she wasn't able to express herself that much. She kind of like used to just play on her own, and the other kids wouldn't, you know, they were, you know, as kids, you know, they wouldn't play with her because obviously they weren't able to speak to her.
So because of the better communication, she's now fitting in. She doesn't feel frustrated at school, and neither with yourself.
At home, yes, you know.
Brilliant.
Still working on it, but I believe.
And are the doctors still assessing her and things like that?
Yes, we've got another appointment on the 4th of August, which is next month, with the paediatrician to see any follow-ups and see where we're at the moment. So, because the last time they actually saw Chloe was sometime in December. So since then, this is a follow-up appointment, and obviously they're going to actually see what I see and what the staff, the nursery see, and what my family and friends see as well, that Chloe has made a lot of progress.
Brilliant.
Yes.
Thank you very much for coming on the show, and we'll be praying for you, okay?
Thank you.
We're going to go for a break, and when we come back, joining me will be Pastor Abraham, and we're going to be talking more about this subject, and remember, we'll be praying for you to persist until you achieve what you want. We'll see you after this.
The UCKG Helpline Call Centre is open 24 hours a day, every day of the week, all year round. If you need help due to a serious problem you may be going through, if you feel that you have nowhere to turn to and desperately need someone to lend a listening ear, then we can help you. It doesn't matter who you are or what you have done, your religion or race, your call will be answered by someone who genuinely cares about you and has your best interests at heart. We also arrange home visits for the housebound and hospital visits for anyone in great need of kindly human contact. Whether it is simply information you want or desperately need someone to talk to, we're here for you on 0207 686 6000.
Welcome back to Finding Answers. Now, before we go for the prayer, I have joining me tonight Pastor Abraham. How are you, Pastor Abraham?
I'm fine, thank you.
Good. So, tonight's topic, we heard from Margaret that despite the news she received, you know, she did feel low, she did feel down, but through faith she learnt to tap into the power of being persistent until she saw a sign, saw answers to her prayers.
Yeah, and it's very important for those who are watching us to understand that bad news, we can't avoid them. Challenges, problems, they come and go. But the way we react toward those problems is what makes the difference in life. Just like Margaret, so she got a bad news from the doctor. But through the power of faith, so she was able to turn everything around. And what was bad at that moment, she was able to overcome. And today, she is completely different. Huh?
Yeah. You know, faith is our language that we need to speak in order to connect with God. It's our faith, right? And if you don't use that faith, that belief in yourself, it has to start with you first. If you don't believe in yourself, who's going to believe in you? Everyone could be around you, Pastor Abraham. Everyone could be around that person, this person now, encouraging them, telling them to go. You can do it. But if the person doesn't believe in themselves, then their life is going to be the same.
Yeah, because it's really important for the person to believe in herself. Of course, we have people who claim to believe in God, but they don't believe in themselves. And because they don't believe in themselves, they don't act the way they should.
Yeah.
And we know that God's a God of reaction. So if I act, there will be a reaction towards the problem. If I do something, so God has also to be right there to back me up.
Yeah.
But if I am at home, sitting down, waiting for the lucky day, so that will never happen. And you know, Pastor Mike, the very important thing is everybody has faith. The poor has faith. The rich has faith. Some choose to use it, others don't.
Yeah.
But everybody has faith. And just like you were saying, faith is the link that connects us to God.
Yeah.
It's not our diplomas, our certificate, or the knowledge that we have. No, it's the faith. That's why when whoever uses the faith can jump from the end of the queue to be right there in the front and to be served.
Yeah.
People whom, humanly speaking, they didn't have any condition of overcoming life. But because they used their faith, they overcame.
Maybe you can understand why, if you have believed in God before and you don't, now you know why you haven't received answers to your prayers. Because the faith that you had was lying dormant. It was still, it was dead. Because you didn't put that belief into steps, action. Going that one step further and showing God that you believe that what was impossible could actually be made possible. You know, we're going to go for the prayer now. Grab your glass of water, because if you have stopped dead in your tracks and you stop believing, you don't see an answer, then we're going to pray for you to find that strength within you to persist. It's time for prayer.
Prepare now for the moment of prayer. If you would like us to make a prayer concerning your family and loved ones, send your name and prayer request to help@findinganswers.tv.
My Lord, in the name of your Son, Jesus Christ, it is not just one more prayer that will change everyone's life around. But from this prayer, it'll be the starting point. If this person has been down, if this person, Lord, has been depressed, they stopped believing first in themselves and even you. My God, I pray, give them that driving force, which is the spirit of persistence, the spirit to keep on going, no matter if they can't see a solution, they can't see it with their eyes, but they believe, my God. And that's what keeps them going because they believe that you will not fail. You will not disappoint them. So my God, when this person will drink the glass of water they have in their hand, I ask you, remove every doubt, remove every negative thought, remove all the voices that have come to this person, my God, and help them to start believing again. Help them to drive on, to drive forward, motivated by the faith that they will start to have. In the name of the Lord Jesus Christ, drink this water now, and may God help you to reach your goals in Jesus' name. So, there you have it, right? Remember, persist. Do not give up. You may stumble and fall in life. You may receive bad news and you may want to give up. But remember, get up off your feet, dust yourself off and keep on going again. And God, you'll find that God will be there to support you. All right? Have a wonderful night and we'll see you again tomorrow on another Finding Answers.